So what is the depth of field? Okay. The depth of field is now how much of the object is in focus. It's that red oval that's on the other side of the picture. Okay. So if you have a large depth of field, you have a lot more objects in focus. If you have a very short depth of field, you have very few items of your picture in focus. Let's talk about depth of field, because that was the problem with the picture I showed you early on. Remember, on the left, we had the incisors in focus, but the molars were not. And I've done everything right, and I'm thinking my light is right, my retraction is right, my composition is right. What is gone? What is wrong? I can't see the molars. Your depth of field was off. Okay, how do we increase depth of field? Because we want the incisors and the molars in focus, so we want the depth of field to increase. Well, to increase it, you have to raise the f-stop. Or in some cases, you can back up, and by backing up, the greater the distance from the subject, the more depth of field you're actually achieving. But the problem in dentistry is you cannot be across the room. You can't tell your patient, stay in the chair, don't move. Now you're going 6 feet away and you say, smile. You have to be at arm's length. Sometimes you even control the retractor. So that's where, even though in terms of light, the f-stop could be small enough to allow the aperture to be huge, unfortunately, to increase your depth of field at a small distance, you have to be close to the patient and increase your f-stop. So look at this diagram here. If my object is that yellow line, at f11, I have very little f-stop, or sorry, very little depth of field. If my object is the red line, at f11, my depth of field increases. But if distance cannot be increased, so if that middle yellow spot, if I can call that, is my patient, and I don't want to go back 6 feet, another way to increase the depth of field is by increasing the f-stop. So get used to, for intraoral pictures especially, get used to increasing your f-stop in the camera. Okay, for whatever it's worth, the optimal range for your orthodontic pictures for intraoral should be over 25. Okay, the picture on the top left is an f-stop of 2. The picture on the top right is an f-stop of 32. Do you see the difference? That's because the distance couldn't be increased. For an extraoral picture, because the distance could increase, you can drop to a smaller f-stop if you would like, which will allow more light to come in